And we're off. Okay, guys. Well, welcome aboard. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for your punctuality. Yeah, got the recording sorted, Mandy. So welcome to the Amplify Your Impact and Transform Your Income webinar. So my name's Tully, for those of you that don't know me. Tonight's not so much about me talking that much. I've got four incredible guys that I've got a lot of respect for that I'm going to be sort of firing a few questions at. But the main reason I wanted to bring all this together is because I speak to a lot of guys these days, ranging from sort of early 20s up to pretty much any guy I speak to, really. And when I speak to people, I'm a coach and I'm a speaker and I'm a workshop facilitator. And whenever I actually speak to people and get down to the nitty gritty, a lot of guys are looking to have a bigger impact and achieve a bit more of a sense of fulfillment. I guess we're getting to the point where simply having a paycheck, even if it's a good paycheck, isn't enough these days. And the other thing that they're really looking for is to create a way to spend more time with family or people they love, or with their relationship, or to travel, or to do those kinds of things. And I guess I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by a lot of good men that have been able to do just that. And I myself have been able to achieve that as well in the last 4 years. And that was with the help of network marketing, and more specifically with Isagenix. So my story, briefly, before I get the other guys to jump on, is working as a physio in private practice. And you'll hear from another physio later tonight as well, Andrew. I was working in private practice, and even though I enjoyed what I did, it was pretty much trading time for money. I knew for me to earn really good money and to set myself up for a future, I was going to be slogging away hours. And I looked ahead, I looked at my boss. He was 45 years old and he didn't look any more relaxed than I was. And so I was sort of started to look around, and long story short, another friend of mine, Rory, who's also a physio, he presented me with Isagenix, the products initially. I didn't know anything about network marketing, and I failed my way forward, earned as I learned, and just got amongst the community and the culture. Learned a lot, have grown a lot over the last 4 years. And now I'm at the point where I work about 10 hours a week as a physio and I get paid like I'm working full time. So it's just completely opened up a lifestyle of choice for me. And I just really want that for any guy out there that is willing to do the work and is really willing to go after it. So tonight is more just to, I guess, educate people about what's possible. And what's required as well. Like, it's a lot of hard work. Nothing's handed to us on a silver platter. But in terms of vehicles to do it, this is a really, really, really good one. So we can put our energy into a job. We can put our energy into a business. We can put our energy into a lot of things. But at the end of the day, what's going to set us up with the returns that we really actually want deep down. So we're going to hear from the guys. I'm going to get them all to just share their stories initially and share their experience, and you'll be able to take a lot from that. And then I'll fire a few questions at them as well. So I might actually get you to kick things off, Benny boy. So initially we've got Ben Kelly, who's going to share his story. So a former bricklayer. It feels like a lifetime ago now that was the case. But yeah, man, I guess share your experience with coming across Isagenix and the business model of network marketing and how that all came about for you and where you are now.
Sure thing. I just want to start off by saying I love those giraffe blinds that you got behind you.
I'm literally in a baby's room at the moment. We're not pregnant, but or when we don't have a baby. But I'm at my friend's place tonight. So yeah, thanks for the acknowledgement, Ben. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I had to bring that up because it was on my mind. I don't think I could have gotten past it and started speaking until I kind of addressed that. But yeah, so I got started in ISA this year, coming up 2018 will be year 6 that I've been with the company. So a long time now. But as you said before, I was a bricklayer. So I don't know if there's too many people, too many guys on the call right now that are construction workers. But as a lot of you guys know, it's a fairly strenuous job, a lot of hard labor on the body. A lot of times you're having to deal with people that you're not necessarily fond of, I guess you could say. Maybe sometimes you've got bosses that are not necessarily your best. In my case, being a bricklayer, I didn't really get to dictate my income too much. There was a lot of things that kind of that took away from me dictating it, like the weather, poor, dodgy bosses, materials not showing up on time, people just not paying up. And it really made it hard, especially on someone that had a lot of debt, and had my debt up against my mum's house as collateral. So, I mean, that put a lot of stress on me as a 24-year-old, 25-year-old, with very little choice. I had very low self-esteem at that point in time. Didn't really have a lot of respect for myself or even like myself. But the way that I sort of tried to gain some sort of self-worth and self-belief was just doing something that I felt like I could be in control in. I felt very, I did have a big, very helpless in a lot of areas. So me training and trying to get results in the gym was ultimately.
Nope.
So I got introduced by my sister Peter, and she studied exercise and health science at the University of Western Australia. So she's a scientist of the human body, very, very knowledgeable on science and being able to prime people's bodies as best as they possibly can to get the results that they want, no matter whether or not it be any form of result. If it's got to do with the body, she was helping people with it. So I was on a bit of an ego trip. Again, not having a lot of self-worth. You don't want to be told by someone that what you're doing is not that good. So for about 6 months, I had my sister really try to get me started on these products that she tested out on all her clients and was getting fantastic results. I turned it back for about 6 months and didn't even give her a look in. But she was getting great results with her clients. She had no idea this was network marketing. She had no idea she was getting compensated financially for sharing this system with people. So it was purely from a scientific background and feeling like this was something that was going to get people the best results. There and then she kind of stumbled upon the fact that she was actually getting paid real money. And that sort of made her realize that this was maybe something a little bit bigger and something that she could really get behind than what she initially thought. And having already found that this was in alignment with her and her values and what she felt was right for the human body. So eventually I got on board with it. And I was just a product user for about 14 months. Just loved the products, was getting fantastic results. Didn't take the opportunity side of it on. I was just really, really happy with how I was feeling and the results I was getting. But I eventually went to a bigger event. And if anyone on the call has anyone invite them to one of the Isogenics events, I recommend going to it. If anything, you just get a lot of inspiration, a lot of hope, and you hear a lot of stories that really just make you feel like things can change in a lot of different aspects of life. And that's what going to the event did for me. So I went to it and I saw pretty everyday people having amazing outcomes physically and financially. And I kind of realized that this was something that I could do. And as I mentioned before, about my mum, we were raised in a single household with my mum raising 4 kids. And we wanted to be able to give back. And we saw that this was going to be an avenue to be able to earn an income that maybe could support us, but also support other people. And we went to work in doing this and building something that we were passionate about. And a couple of years ago, we were able to retire our mum from a teaching career, 38-year teaching career. And that was a goal we set out. And it wasn't just a marketing ploy. Work until you retire your parent. Like we legitimately meant it. And that's what we were going to do. And we did that. And I cleared all my debt. I was able to travel, which is something I really couldn't do. And I mean, I've just been able to live a fairly purposeful life and a very intentional life for the last 4 years, doing this as my full-time gig, and just really happy to be a part of something that's contributing to a lot of different people and allowing me to feel a little bit more purposeful in what I'm doing with myself.
Yeah, love it. Thanks for sharing, man. And obviously a lot of factors would have gone into that transformation, 6 years, quite a complex process. But if you could say like, what's one thing that's really contributed to your transformation from where you were to where you are today, if you could isolate one thing, would you be able to do that? And if you could, what would that one thing be?
Oh, there's obviously a lot of different, I guess, things to consider as far as the drastic 180-degree turn of a whole life in almost every aspect. But for me, it was just a willingness to learn, to be committed to learning, and being committed to find out stuff that I didn't even know were things I needed to know, and be quite comfortable with being wrong, and becoming very open to searching out knowledge and information. And I just knew that if I was meant to have the life that I wished for as that guy back then, I would have already had it. So I had to really relinquish the identity I built around myself at that point in time, and really had to go to work to form a more fully expressed version of myself. And that really meant, being very coachable, being vulnerable with myself, being very open and honest about where I was at, and making personal growth paramount and at the forefront of most of what I did. So that was a big thing. And I just really applied a lot of that time and really fast tracked my growth, because it became a majority sort of priority as to what I was going to do. And then obviously I got thrown into a supportive environment. And the environment was everything. I think being thrown into an environment with people that are going in the same direction, they're on the same boat, they understand what you're going through and why you want to make changes in your life. And for them to be able to allow you the space to be able to grow in with less judgment was just a catalyst for me to go from a very negative sort of guy to someone that didn't like people. Sometimes I'm a little bit like that, but to someone that could learn things that he thought were not possible for him, and become someone that he couldn't have even imagined to mold into. And the environment really nurtured that growth for me. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest things.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, man. I'll chuck you on mute, and I'll get Joshy, and I might come back with another question, but I think you got a jet as well, so feel free to bounce if you need. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
All right, I'm going to unmute you now, Josh. All right, you're good to go. So you, Josh, you had a successful business before you started working with Isagentis and started taking a serious look at network marketing. So tell us a bit about sort of where you were at before you came across this company and this business model, and how that sort of panned out for you.
Awesome. Well, first, thanks, Tolly, for inviting me on the call, and thanks everyone for getting on tonight and giving up your time. So where did I start? 23. Gotten back from overseas, and I thought, the world's my oyster, and what I'm going to do is start up my own business. So I started up my own graphic design branding agency at the ripe old age of 23. With the ultimate goal of, for me at the time as a 23-year-old, play more golf, more time freedom, travel the world, women, cars, and all that sort of stuff at 23. And that's where we were going. But I guess, 17 years later in the business, I'd realised that I'd actually just built myself a really well-paying job. I had the golden handcuffs. So I was getting paid really well. Not enough to set me free, but enough to keep me within my business. So, it was about in year 2009 when we had about 20 staff and we had about $1 million a year of overheads just to keep the doors open each year, and rolled in the GFC. And I remember, one day having to literally let go 13 people in a day. And for me, some of these people had worked with us for 7-8 years, given us nothing but loyalty and dedication. And, and I had to, we were just told, you got to either let people go or the whole thing's going to go to the wall, which I'm not sure if there's any other business owners on here, or even as an employee who's been let go before from a previous job, you know, it was one of the hardest things I'd had to do, because it was either me losing everything or, you know, just keeping it bare bones. So that really took the wind out of my sails as far as, you know, building this thing that was meant to give me freedom. And I got to this point where I just had to let it all go and effectively rebuild, you know, the thing that I've been working so hard, you know, to build myself a life of what I was looking for. So at that point, with the wind taken out of my sails, I started thinking, well, is this really the best thing that I should be doing? And before Isogenics and before residual income, we were always looking at ways to earn an ongoing income out of the business. So it took that pressure of trading that time for money, which Tully, you were talking about as being a physio. And all we did was we just traded our time for money, quote a job, do the job, look for the next job. We were looking at app development and building, like, you know, online subscription model systems. But it really just didn't, it was just something we couldn't get a handle on. And it wasn't until, and this is where we went to Croatia, to Europe, and we became friends with a couple, which are now good friends of ours, who introduced us, or introduced my wife, I should say, to Isogenics, because we were getting married. So at the start, Diana came home with a big box of products, said, I'm losing weight for the wedding. About 2 weeks later, she was bouncing off the walls, and I just said, well, get me whatever you've got, because at the time I was just using like the stuff from the chemist. I was using, like, you know, the equivalent of Man Shake. I was just like using whatever it took, and nothing was moving for me. And I had to get into a suit in about 6 weeks' time. So she had great results and really just saw the vision of what really Isogenics could do. She shared it with her friends. Her friends just organically wanted to know what she had been doing. And then she said to me, because we'd spent all this time and money setting up her own small business from home as well. And one day she said to me, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to do Isogenics. I'm going to do this as a business. And I had no idea what network marketing was, really. I didn't know whether it was going to work. But I did actually say to her, I was skeptical, but I said, well, look, if you think you can do it, go for it. And within 12 months, you know, she created and I was actively just interested. I just always thought it'd be a little bit of hobby on the side. And I said, whatever you want to do, dear, whatever, just bring in the extra $50 a week or whatever it is, and it'll help pay some of the bills.
Some pocket money.
My ego is attached to, like, I'm the businessman. I'm bringing in the income. I'm, you know, setting ourselves up. But within 18 months, she was out earning what I was bringing home from my business. So that's when I really, but she was doing it from sitting at a cafes, working from the beach, working from home on the couch, really just creating her own time freedom, but also earning a really great income without all the overheads and expenses of running her own business. So fast forward, sold the business, and for the last 3 years, Diana and I have been building this together. So we've got a kid on the way. And I always said that I wanted to be a present father and be there for every single moment of my kids' entrance into the world, and also be an active father too. So now we get to do this, and this is really what, you know, lights us up now, and has given us, you know, the opportunity to show other young families, other business owners, and, you know, other young mothers how to do the same as what we've done. So it's been completely life-changing for us.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for sharing, man. And you touched on, it's been brought up a few times, the concept of residual income. And before I came across network marketing, didn't really understand it, didn't know about it. We're not really taught much useful stuff in school, especially not how to earn residual income. So maybe just in case anybody's on the call and they don't really know what residual income is, could you just explain that in sort of layman's terms, or as basic as you can for us?
Yeah, well, look, effectively there's three types of income. You've got your active income, which to the general population is, you know, work for X hours a week and you get paid for X hours a week. it's traditionally seen as a job.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas residual income is really seen as, you do the work once and you get paid ongoing for that effort, ongoing to the future. So if you think about someone like Michael Jackson, writes a song once and he gets paid ongoing in royalties over and over again. You develop an app, and sell that app or write a book or whatever it is in royalties, and you get that paid over again. And that's the same with like building network marketing business. You build the organization once and you get paid ongoing for it as well. So, and then you've got the passive income where you're putting your residual income that you may earn through network marketing or any other venture and put it into a passive income stream like share trading or property, or, a lot of people now putting into things like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. So, I guess residual income is the golden income stream, like getting paid ongoing for your efforts long after you've actually done the work.
Yeah, I love it. And it's what I've learned, since starting in network marketing is there are other ways to make residual income, but unless you can dance like MJ or you're like a tech whiz and you can develop an app, then network marketing for me, I've seen just everyday guys, everyday women, normal people, it's the most accessible way for the average person to start to earn small or large amounts of residual income. And that's what really gives us back our most valuable asset, which you've touched on, is time, so that we can be present with what we really want to be. As we're going through.
Yeah, even just for us, going through the whole pregnancy thing, and we did, we had some help along the way at the start of our pregnancy, and I was able to be at every single appointment and along the way of doing that as well. I didn't miss one thing, and that was because I put that down to residual income as well. If I had a job or it was back in my traditional business, I would have missed half of those because of other priorities and meetings. So,
powerful. Awesome. Thanks, Josh. I might come back to you in a little bit. I'm just going to take you off mute now, and I'll get Andrew to jump in and share his story. So, a fellow physio. And you owned and were managing. Was it just one practice or was it multiple?
I owned. Thanks, Tully. So I was a physiotherapist as well in my past life 5 years ago, and I owned a practice, and we kind of had a couple of other little satellite practices and contracts out there. And I personally worked with a lot of sports teams as well, which does seem very glamorous, and you get to travel a lot, and it's kind of good for you. Get the certificates on the wall, and you get the Facebook posting, but it pays quite poorly. I think it's one of the problems with sport unless you get the absolute pinnacle jobs. And so you're often, treating athletes on the floor of your hotel room at 10 p.m. at night. And, athletes are very demanding as well. So that was my lifestyle. But at the time, I just thought that was normal. So I had that traditional upbringing and the traditional education that you got your degree, you bought a business. We had some property investments. We had sort of 4 or 5 property investments. And then you sort of look and go, you know what, actually, as much as I've got all this coming in, I'm going to be 50 or 60 before I can actually enjoy any of this, before these properties start to kind of give me the money to give us the lifestyle and stuff like that. So I was introduced to Isogenics because one of the ladies who was a physio who worked for me had started, and with my professional skepticism, I wasn't interested. And I ate clean and I exercised and I did all those things that we're told to do. But I sort of had that reality when I was about to turn 30 and we're about to get married, like as similar to Josh. And it was kind of, I want to look good for the wedding. I know it's all about the woman, but you're stuck with those photos for the rest of your life. So you want to look half decent in them because they're on the wall forever. And, I was getting up at 5 a.m. I was going to the gym. I was eating clean. We were preparing all our foods, but I'd either hit a wall at 3 p.m. and just crash and need something to get me through my final patients, or I'd come home and I'd just crash out on the couch. And I realized that, this wasn't what we wanted. So the lady, Jen, who was actually a physio who worked for me, her husband was my personal trainer. Her mum was my receptionist, and her brother was renting one of my properties, and they had all started. So
All
I was
surrounding.
was copying it, but I was seeing the results that they were getting, and I was, and I said, okay, look, I'll do a pack, I'll do a 30-day. If it works, I'll do it for 2 or 3 months up until our wedding. But don't tell me anything else. No one's going to know I'm going to do it. It's going to be in the back of the cupboard. And I remember I started on a Thursday, and on Monday morning I walked into the office, and 2 of the other staff were like, what the hell? Like, have you tried that Isagenix thing too? Because you look really different. Like, you just look better already. And that was like 4 or 5 days in. So again, I mean, I got great results. And being a physiotherapist, I tested and measured myself before and after. So my body fats were better. I was lifting heavier. I was running faster. I was recovering better. All those great things. And then we got married. And from there, again, I was happy just using the products because I still couldn't see the bigger picture. I still just felt, well, you've got your business, you've got your property, like, be happy. And the enemy of a great life is a good life. So, we kind of had a good life in that regard. But then my wife fell pregnant. And that was the thing of, well, imagine if we could just bring $500 a week in. Friends were asking us about people who worked with my wife, friends of mine were asking, and it was like, well, maybe we should just kind of look down this rabbit hole and go along to our first event, as Ben had spoke about before, and learn a bit more about it. And we met people and we learned, and we kind of thought, well, we'll just get to work until the baby comes and we'll see what happens. And by the time the baby arrives, my wife was able to leave her job and not have to worry about going back. And similar to Josh as well, we could just, the baby came and we didn't have to worry about, anything. It was just, okay, well, we can switch off and be there. And then it was like, well, if we can get my wife home, maybe we can get me home. So we kept working and went from full-time to part-time, and then sold the practice and then moved and then went to casual. And now I don't actually work as a physio anymore. So I'm still registered because I have friends who own practices, and I kind of, go in for a day here and there and help out to, when they need it. And it's nice to just walk in, treat patients, do that, help people, but then also just walk out the door and not worry about anything else, not worry about, is the phone going to ring tomorrow? Can I pay my bills? I didn't treat enough patients to meet my budget this week. I'll just walk out and it's fine. So you get to just get back to the actual enjoyment of treating patients. And also I get to be home with my wife and kids, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. And I can really relate to that, because instead of, you often we're passionate about something, and it might be physio or whatever your passion is, and then we try to make an income out of that passion, and all of a sudden that passion becomes stressful and we don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I'd spend more time worrying about the phone ringing and what's the receptionist saying than what the actual patient's saying on the bed. And so you stress and it takes the enjoyment away out of it. So that's been our journey. So it's been 5 years for us. So
yeah, and a lot of hard work, I imagine.
Yeah, like anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. We're working hard doing one thing, but it's just the returns that we can get. And I guess one thing that I really wanted to ask you was, obviously you owned a practice, you were a physio, you're working with people, improving people's quality of life every day. So you obviously got a bit of fulfillment from that. How would you compare how you felt in terms of how fulfilling your work was before Isagenix and then now doing what you're doing with Isagenix?
Yeah, so I'm sure you'd understand, and you come into the health industry with these grand plans that you're going to fix everyone, and you learn pretty quickly that unfortunately you can't, because we're taught at uni to treat conditions, and then you go out into the real world and you have to treat people, and people don't fit what the textbook says. And what I just discovered, and what was frustrating, and what was taking my energy and excitement away, was that just people were coming in and they were doing the right things. They were doing their exercises. They were, showing up for their appointments, but they just weren't getting better. And a lot of that came down to their health. And no matter how much I treated them or how well I treated them or how often, there came a point where they just weren't capable of getting results because they didn't know what to do. And so that's where this was just a fantastic thing for me when I discovered Isogenics. It was that here is a system that is just getting results for people, and it's very flexible and it's very simple, and they can open the box and follow the instructions. And suddenly I found people were getting results, and, I'd been working with them for years, and then suddenly they're getting results. And it was, people I was working with as patients, it was friends I was training with, it was family members of mine, and they're suddenly getting these results. And the energy was just compounded because I had more energy from using the products myself, and I had more excitement because people were I'd been going for 7 or 8 years by this stage, and I was getting worn out and frustrated. And now suddenly I was getting excited because people were getting results, and I refound that passion for helping people. And I discovered through the beautiful thing of network marketing is that I could leverage myself out further with that. So there is a limit to how many people I can treat in a day. I'm in a room, it's one-on-one with people. But now with this, I can sit at my computer, I can do a call like this, I can do a Zoom to our team, and I can help 100 people, 1,000 people change their life, change their health, all from my computer. And then I get to go spend the rest of the day with my kids. So as much as I loved physio, I love helping people more as in general, and I love my family even more. And this allows me to take care of those two things first and foremost, and do them both. You can have both.
Beautifully said. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing.
No worries.
All right, I'll chuck you on mute there, and we've got one more guy to hear from. Oh, where is he? Don't hear Brendan. I'll unmute you there, mate. All right, Brendo, do you want to just, start off by sharing your journey with it all? Because what was your background before you started, before you came across ISA?
Yeah, thanks, Tully. Great shares from the other lads on there before as well. It's good to get a taste of people in different professions, and mine's a different story again. So for my story, it was basically I grew up in athletics and AFL football, and that's basically all I wanted to do. I did pretty well at school, like I was pretty handy with maths and that sort of thing. Academically, I could have done well if I applied myself, but it was sport. I got injured, that dream was gone, and that was during college. And I didn't really apply myself after that, after having surgery. And I found myself at the end of college, in my heart, knew that I needed to become an adult, needed to do the right thing. I went to my dad. He'd been 20 years in corporate. I said, Dad, I need to get a job. What can I do? So we went through the paper. We found a traineeship in a bank. I got the job. I started in a call center. I excelled. I made a commitment to myself that I was going to do well when I started work. Excelled in there, got a promotion, started to move up the corporate ladder, and I was pretty excited by that, to be honest. I really thought that here's an opportunity, particularly working in banking and finance, that I'll be able to, really kick some goals in my career. But there was no passion involved in what I did. And I heard Andrew, speaking before about there was a passion for being able to help people and in a certain way. I had no passion for what I did. It was only the people that kept me going, people I was working with and the customers as well. So anyway, I hit a plateau in my career at about an early age of 21, 22. I was wanting to set the world on fire, but I didn't have the experience. So I soon realised that I was starting to get knockbacks really, really quickly. Brendan, you interviewed so well. However, maybe a couple more years, that sort of feeling started to come in. I don't know if you guys can relate in any other profession. I'm sure it happens, is that, it's like, look sideways, look up. Where's my next ability to earn a promotion within my business or as an employee? I just had nowhere. So I thought I need to wait until someone passes away or retires or an opening comes up for me where I can take the opportunity. So anyway, I went to uni. I went to uni for 5.5 years and studied a finance and business management degree whilst working full time. Made some sideways moves into wealth management, had a pathway mapped out to become a financial planner. But I knew at that point, at age 24, I knew in my heart that I could do it, but I also, just through pure grit, but I had zero passion or very minimal passion for it. And I knew that if I was going to take the next step in my career, to honour that career and have people in front of me where I'm talking and giving strategic advice on their finance, or whether I'm managing a bank with staff, I needed to have my heart and soul in it. And it wasn't there. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. Anyway, I got introduced to network marketing by another company, a very large company, by a man that I'd worked with that I'd never spoken to. He took me to the library and he showed me this vision of network marketing. Didn't resonate with me at all. And then Isogenics came up 3 weeks later. I loved my health. I wanted to really excel with my health. I got started on the products. I just said yes, because at that stage I knew I was open to something more. Fast forward, I'm 4 years in the company now. I fell in love with the products. Huge, significant increase in my energy levels. Mental fog was lifted. I really started to feel like this is something that I can share. So a couple of ladies in the lunchroom watching me eat my broccoli and brown rice, and they saw me with a shaker. And anyway, they got started, and I started to get that fulfillment that Andrew was talking about, because they came back to me and they said, Brendan, I can't believe I've lost 6 kilos. I feel great. This is a really incredible experience. Thank you so much. Thank you. So there was, I got that feeling in my heart of, I'm actually helping people here, in a way that I'm interested in a way that I'm passionate about. I'm going to keep sharing these products. Got to an event, I grasped the vision of what this can potentially be, rather than simply just continuing to share health products that I'm passionate about. And if I got to work, I could become a true professional in an industry that, I could be very, very proud of. Little did I know there's noise in the industry through misconceptions that people have. And that's why I love calls like this, because, we can really just open up as blokes and share it for what it is. Once I grasped the vision that a physio, a business owner, a bricklayer, a bank manager, whatever it may be, could really excel if they were committed to their growth, I just knew that there'd be other blokes out there that would want to do what I had uncovered, or would want to see what I'd really been exposed to.
Awesome. And so how does your life look, I guess, on an average week or day to day when you're working a job compared to now? I know you've got a beautiful girlfriend that you can spend a lot of time with. So yeah, I guess give us a bit of a snapshot comparison of an average week.
Yeah, that's a great question, Tully, because this is the number one thing that excites me about this profession. So, of course, a lot of hard work, but like Andrew said, hard work in anything. And so my life before Isogenics was commute to work, get out of bed, 7 a.m., an hour commute to work till 5:30, go to the gym, eat dinner, go to bed effectively. And that was my day for 8 years. I got 4 weeks holiday, and I went to Europe like Josh. I got a taste of travel. I wanted so much more of that, and I racked my head and I thought, how on earth am I going to be able to travel and see all the places that I want to travel, or how on earth am I going to get back to Europe before I'm 60? Literally, mortgage, children in the future, this sort of thing. Yeah. I'm thinking, how am I going to be able to do this? So that was my day, very routine, very rigid, 4 weeks holiday a year. Not much of a gap in income either, to take unpaid leave. None of that choice. So my days now, 2 years ago I quit in the corporate world, quit my job. I got long service leave, and I quit during long service leave. That was the goal I set myself, and I achieved it. I got my dog in the back of my ute. I travelled from Hobart, Tasmania. I spent 2 to 3 months on the road. I stayed at hotels, I stayed at pubs, I met people in rural towns of 50 odd people, and I got a taste of what it was like to have some flexibility for the first time in a decade. Anyway, I made my way up to Cairns in far north Queensland, and I've been here now for 2 years. We've got a beautiful home in the rainforest here, and I'm really in alignment. I've now gone full plant-based with my health, so it's just something that I felt I wanted to explore. Like you mentioned, a lovely partner, and we spend all day, every day with each other. we work super hard. We're on the call now at 9:30 p.m. and honour you guys for on the call as well, because this is where it's at to make changes. If you want to or need to make changes. And we break it up. We go to water holes, we go for hikes, and that could be 2 p.m. on a Thursday. It could be 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. We've got structure, but we've got the fleet, and we're committed to growing our isogenics business. But we also have got so much time. We've only been together for a year, and I honestly feel that if I was still in a 9 to 5, it would have taken me 5 years to spend the amount of time that I've spent with my girlfriend this year.
Yeah, wow, powerful. Like chalk and cheese. Thanks for sharing, man. And we've just gone 40 minutes, so we'll wrap it up there. So just massive thank you to all the guys that have jumped on to share, and just to everybody who's taken the time to jump on. So thanks, guys. And I guess just to close it out in terms of next step, I guess just reach out to, if you're on the call now, reach out to the person who sent you the link and got you on, and just ask any questions you might have. Like a lot of the guys mentioned with their journeys with it, nothing really sunk in until they sort of got to an event to see what it was really all about. So my encouragement is ask any questions that you need to ask before you have a closer look at it. But if you're interested in seeing what it's all about and what it could do for you, then chat to the person who either sent you this, if it's the recording, or got you on here tonight. And head along to an event, check it out, meet some more of the guys. You'll probably see some familiar faces from this call. And go from there. But that's it from me, guys. And I'll leave you to it. I'm going to stop the recording.